A suburban high school intern is charged with repeatedly sexually assaulting one of her students. 21-year-old Elizabeth Flint interned at Glenbard East High School in Lombard. Police say Flint sexually assaulted a 17-year-old student 3 separate times at her home. The alleged crime came to light after some fellow employees grew suspicious of her behavior. Flint was released after posting a $5,000 bond.
A grand jury indicts a substitute teacher in Union County, Kentucky on sex crime charges involving a minor. 43-year-old Heather Frick of Morganfield. KSP launched an investigation last November after allegations that Frick was having a sexual relationship with a boy. Union County Public Schools confirm Frick worked as a substitute teacher in the district. She's been suspended and is not allowed on any school campuses.
Allison Marchese, a teacher, former teacher at Daniel Hand High School, sentenced today 3 years in prison for having inappropriate relationships with 2 students.
Marchese faces 5 years probation as well, and she must register on the sexual offender registry for 10 years.
Allison Marchese sentenced in New Haven court on Friday afternoon as part of a plea deal. The former Daniel Hand High School English teacher now behind bars. Court papers say Marchese sent these pictures to a student and that she performed a sexual act on a 17-year-old boy. Her attorney acknowledges what she did was inappropriate. The arrest warrant says Marchese shared racy pictures of herself through Instagram and that one of the victims told police he asked her to stop messaging him, but she would not. There are now protective orders against Marchese, preventing her from contacting the victims.
Marchese is not allowed to have any unsupervised contact with minors except for her own children.
A look at the day's top stories. A former teacher at an elementary school in Logan Square faces a bond hearing today. Sarah Damyan is charged with sexually assaulting a 13-year-old boy over the course of 2 months last year. She was arrested yesterday. She was a teacher at Volta Elementary School. It's not clear whether the boy was a student there. CPS says Damyan was removed from the classroom in March of last year.
Prosecutors say 24-year-old Ashley Zehnder, a biology teacher at Pasadena High, took a nude picture of herself and sent it to a 17-year-old male student. The student then apparently shared that picture with what seems like everyone on campus. Prosecutors say it became so widespread, Zehnder herself went to the school administration to complain. But instead of getting help, she got arrested after the student who got the picture in the first place fessed up. Turns out Zehnder, an assistant cheer coach, was apparently not only sharing nude pics with a student on the cheer squad. Prosecutors say she was having sex with him in her Southeast Houston apartment all summer long.
The teacher was put on administrative leave while investigators here looked into the case. Days later, the teacher resigned. We tried talking to her and her attorney today in the courtroom, but they didn't have any comment. She is out on bond this evening after posting a $10,000 bail.
Well, according to the probable cause report, 2 teens told investigators that they first had sex with the teacher when they were 16 and 17. One teen, who's since graduated, said he even snuck the teacher inside his bedroom. Tonight, Brandy Foreman is facing 4 felony sexual battery charges. The 29-year-old woman is a teacher for the Central School District near Sallisaw. According to the district website, Foreman is a junior high English teacher and cheer coach. The superintendent says she was placed on administrative leave as soon as he was notified about the accusations. According to the probable cause arrest affidavit, one teen told investigators he was 17 when he first had sex with Foreman in December 2017. Another student told investigators he started having sex with Foreman in June 2018 when he was 16. The teen said Foreman would pick him up and they would have sex in her vehicle. According to the probable cause affidavit, Foreman initially denied the allegations, but then confessed to having sex with the students on multiple occasions. Investigators believe she also sent nude pictures to the teens. Her cell phone is being examined for evidence. Foreman is out of jail tonight on a $20,000 bond. She's expected to be in court tomorrow. Now, if convicted for sexual battery, she could face up to 10 years in prison for each charge. She would also have to register as a sex offender.
And with a former
former Spring Branch ISD teacher who is once again in trouble with the law. Authorities say Kathryn Murray is still having an inappropriate relationship with a teenage boy.
29-year-old Kathryn Murray was arrested last night at her father's home. This time the charge against her is harboring a runaway child. And that child, now 16, is the same boy who was at the center of last year's sexual assault case. At one time, Murray had been an 8th grade teacher at Memorial Middle School. That came to an end as she was accused of having sex with the boy at his home, at a hotel, and even 2 times in her own classroom. She eventually bonded out and was ordered by a judge to not have any contact with the teen or with any kid for that matter. She was also required to wear a GPS tracking device. But then last night, officers received a tip from a private investigator that Murray was again with the teen. When they arrived at the father's home, they say the teen tried to sneak out the back door. They also believe that he and Kathryn Murray had a plan to sneak to Mexico. Because her alleged crime this time is a misdemeanor, the judge said she was unable to revoke her bond. However, she did set it at $100,000 and requested that Murray surrender her passport.
Police are investigating Michelle Geliga's relationship with a 17-year-old student, and they want to know if there are any other potential victims out there. At this point, they don't believe that to be the case, but they're also not ruling it out. What we do know at this hour is that there was a mother that was concerned that her son was having an inappropriate relationship with Geliga, so she called and took action. On Thursday evening, police arrested Geliga on 2 accounts of sexual battery of a minor. In a recorded call between her and the 17-year-old student, Geliga admitted to having sex with him. The student told officers he had been texting with Geliga, who was helping him with schoolwork. According to the police report, she texted him to meet up and have sex. It all came to light after a mother of another student found several text messages from Geliga on her son's phone. That student said he only communicated with her and referred officers to his friend, who is the victim in the case.
We have an update on a former school teacher who admitted to having a sexual relationship with a student. A judge sentenced Jamee Hiatt to between 3 and 20 years in prison today. Hiatt pleaded guilty to 1st and 3rd degree criminal sexual conduct last year. The relationship started while she was teaching at Leslie Middle School in 2014. She resigned from Woodworth Elementary School when she was arrested almost a year ago.
Westlake High School teacher will be on probation for 10 years after pleading guilty to having improper relationships with students. That punishment for Haeli Wey came down today. The deferred adjudication probation means the case will be dismissed when she completes her sentence. Wey faced 2 counts of having an improper relationship between an educator and a student after a 17-year-old told authorities he had sex with Wey in 2015. A second 17-year-old came forward and said he too had a sexual relationship with Wey. She pleaded guilty to both counts last month. The case comes as the state legislature is moving to crack down on teachers who engage in those behaviors.